Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I trust you're on to a great day. Today, I'm going to be talking about ethics in medicine. What is ethics? Ethics refers to the principles that guide acceptable behavior of people in a group, community, in an industry, in an organization. It ultimately stems from the concept of what is deemed to be right and wrong, what is deemed to be good or bad, how we behave and how we relate, how individuals relate to one another. Over the years, medicine has seen tremendous advancement and tremendous growth. But it will surprise you to know the cost at which some of these advancements and growth and development has, come. All that being said, I am grateful personally to the many advancements that we've made in medicine that has helped us to live more quality lives. What are these four ethical principles from which many other ethical principles are derived? They are: 1. Autonomy, 2. Non-maleficence, 3. Beneficence, and 4. Justice. I'll explain these in simpler terms right away. Autonomy, or respect for autonomy, is understanding the right to self-determination. That means in the doctor-patient relationship, I'm using doctor as a term for healthcare professional. In the doctor-patient relationship, the patient reserves the right, to determine what happens to his or her body. And this determination must be with consent. That means he or she must give consent for procedures, examinations, information, and divulging of such information also. Now, this consent can be verbal, it can be written, and it can also be implied. When I mean implied, is that sometimes when you go to the hospital, for instance, you are by that saying that you consent to your name and your information being collected. That's one. To being asked certain questions, and also probably to have a physical examination, which of course your healthcare provider will also ask you of immediately prior to going ahead with that. So the thing about consent is that consent also must be given by somebody who is capable of giving consent, and the age of such capability or maturity differs from country to country. In most countries, particularly in third world countries or developing countries, you have the consent age being 18 years old, and whereas in some it's 16 years old. And below those ages, the consent has to be given by a guardian, right, or the parents of such child or person. Now, I won't talk too much more. There are many things about autonomy. I've mentioned consent, which must be informed and given by a competent person. And secondly is confidentiality, which I've also, by the way, mentioned that information divulged in the patient-doctor or researcher-participant relationships is confidential, stays between the two parties, and is only divulged to those who are involved in the direct management of that patient. Particularly when having to divulge information to larger audiences, personal identifiers, that means things that can identify the person, that this is Mrs. So and so who lives at so and so place. Those personal identifiers are omitted. Now, the second principle is non-maleficence, which is an important principle in medicine. It simply means do no harm, doing no harm. Medical knowledge should not be used to take life. Medical knowledge should not be used to harm. Medical knowledge should not be used for unfair advantage. Do no harm. In addition, medical knowledge, interventions, and actions should not leave the recipient in a worse off state than he or she was prior to those interventions. If any harm will be done, the aim is to put that harm to the barest minimum. Sometimes one may have to do a surgery for a particular issue, maybe like in third world countries, for instance, you can have a case of typhoid perforation, and then you know that indeed, if you do not operate, this individual is going to die. So in such a case, you have to do some harm. Basically means probably, of course, simple harm, like saying you're not going to eat for a few days. Number one, it's going to be an admission. Number two, number three, a surgical procedure is going to be carried out on the person after adequately preparing him or her for the procedure. So the second principle, like I mentioned, is do no harm. Do no harm. Do no harm. Or in the worst case, minimize harm to the barest minimum. So these are first two principles of ethics in medicine. The other two principles I'll share in my subsequent video. So kindly just go on to the next video after this, and kindly like, share, and subscribe so you can immediately get the notification for the next video. Do have a great day, and God bless you. Bye.